Hi, this is Ernie Garza, the old athletic trainer, coming to you in this time of virus from my treehouse, backyard treehouse, socially and emotionally distant from all my coworkers and everybody that I normally see. I wanted to reach out to you today to talk about some of the things that you can avoid doing on your resume. I'm hiring for a position, so this topic is coming up with me more and more. And if we ever return back to normal, I'll be hiring for another assistant position. And I just want to share my thoughts with you. When you write an email asking about a job and you're sending out your cover letter and your resume letter, make sure you use proper grammar and punctuation in that letter, because that is really functionally your cover letter. If you send it out like you typed it on your cell phone while you were driving and drinking or something like that, it's going to reflect that, and it's really not going to be very impressive. So that really is your cover letter, that initial letter. So please be very careful when you send those out. When you list experience on your resume and you don't have a lot of professional experience, or you're just a student just starting out, everybody was there, it's okay to be green, put down things that are going to be meaningful, that show you that you've actually achieved something. I would much rather see somebody put down that they worked 2 years in school waiting tables at the Thirsty Turtle than they worked one day at an event. When I was younger, I had to do lots of different events, and I worked at marathons here in Houston. And one year, I did it twice. And one year, I actually held a jar of Vaseline out at the 15-mile mark. No comments. And then next year I drove the lead van, not the lead van, the last van, right? The trail van. And I could have put that on a resume, Houston Marathon, 2 years, but, then I'd have to sit in front of an employer and explain how they should hire me because I rode the brake for 26.2 miles. So make it meaningful, make it something that you have actually achieved. If you're at the point in your career where you coordinated all those big events that have hundreds and thousands and dozens of people involved in it, that's an achievement. But don't put down stuff that you were there for one day. That's not helpful. And always, always, always list your references. You're asking me to look at your resume, which I'm happy to do, but then you say something like references upon request. You're requesting me to look at that, and I'm supposed to request you to send. No. Obviously, your references are going to be people that are going to say great things about you, and that's okay. But we have to have that information in our hand. Name, title, and phone number to make it easy for us to contact them. When you're creating your resume, it's really should be an extension of yourself. I don't get too worried about fonts and things like that, but it should reflect your personality to a certain extent. When I do actually go in and call people for interviews, I talk to them casually on the phone, and I get a sense of what they're like and what their interests are and what their goals are. Be honest when you talk to people, when you present your resume and you actually do follow up with them. Don't tell them a bunch of stuff just to get the job, because nothing worse than being stuck in a job that you're not really happy in. I like to hire somebody that's going to be the best fit in my program for his personalities with our coaches and our parents, and I know it's not the same for everywhere. So you may have all the great qualifications, but if your personality doesn't really fit with our situation, then it's difficult for me to hire you. One candidate that I interviewed and went through the whole thing of my job description. I talked about, what the expectations were and stuff like that. And then finally I opened it up to his questions at the end. His first question was, how much vacation do I get? Well, that was pretty much the end of that interview. Be smart when you ask your questions. Don't ask about how much am I going to get paid. Phrase it and think of in terms of like compensation, because pay is not just what you're working for. You're working for compensation. It is your life you're basically selling. Are you going to get medical, dental, paid continuing education? All those things are a factor in your job to make you happy. It's really not a job, it's a vocation. So it's important, but you have to phrase it correctly. And just as a side note, always be polite. You never know where your next job is going to come from. So there you go. Just some of my thoughts on resumes and some job interview stuff. Best of luck to you all that are looking for jobs. If we will get back to normal, we'll all get through this together. If you like what you saw here today, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Until then, keep making it better.